You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Married to Jonas After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Married to Jonas After Show.
Hello, MTJ fans. Bing is for doing, and we're doing another after show right here, right now on AFTERBUZZTV.com for Married to Jonas. It's the third episode of the season, Texas with the in-laws, and it was another great episode. Great. Yeah. I'm your host, Cathy Kelley, and I'm going to let the lovely ladies across from me introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. I'm Samantha Laich.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gracie.
And what did you girls think of tonight's episode?
I am falling more and more in love with the show week by week, and I hope that the viewers and listeners agree with me, because you are really just getting sucked into it. It is so cute, and it's so real.
Yeah.
This is stuff that everyone's dealing with, and I think that's what is so great, is it's so relatable that you can't help but, like, feel for them. You know, you're happy with them. You feel their confusion, their hurt.
Yeah. I love this show. It's so real. Every girl who marries into any family, with the dynamic of the in-laws and the mother-in-law and everything coming together, and all the real family drama that's not, you know, made up or ridiculous, it's endearing to watch.
Whether you're married to a celebrity or, you know, Joe Schmo on the street, they're dealing with the same problems that, you know, all of us deal with in our, I mean, not all of us, like, I'm not thinking about having babies now, but, like, I mean, it's something that people deal with eventually in their lives.
Right.
And I think, you know, I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to say it again, it's so cool to see how, you know, real these people are. Like, although they are celebrities, they have problems just like us.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so let's jump right into this episode. And they go to Texas to the Jonas compound, is what they call it.
I love it.
Yeah, and there, you know, like, they get to catch up with old friends, see their grandparents, all this stuff. And we're actually seeing that right now on the screen. And, I mean, what did you think of this house?
Oh, it's amazing. It's out of a catalog. It is really out of a catalog. Everything. Kevin even talked about it. He was like, the leather furniture, like the pool, it has every amenity you would want, and that's why it's considered the compound. Like, has everything that they ever need there. They love going there.
Texas is its own country in America, but I mean, really, it's amazing. I would love to spa there, vacation there, you know, just Twitter me.
Yeah. I love that you said that during the episode while we were watching it as well, where Texas is its own country. And I mean, they did try to be their own country at one point, but I mean, I feel like Houston especially is so different than the rest of Texas. Like, you know, Dallas is different than Austin, and both of them are different than Houston. Houston is so big, so I would love to know where exactly in Houston this house is. Not to stalk them, but just to, like,
get a feel for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have either of you ladies ever been to Texas?
No, I've never been, and it makes me, I want to go there because I think that it's a lifestyle. You just experience their way of living, and it's completely different, like you said, than anything else that's around. Like, and I've yet to experience it, but it's on the list.
You have to go, because I have been there a couple of times, and like I said, it's its own country. I'll never forget a friend of mine's cousin pulling up with his shotguns in the back of the car. I mean, skeet shooting for the Jonases, that's how they do it.
No, that is not so normal. My family, like, I have family in Dallas, and, like, my dad used to live in Temple, so it's not like guns everywhere.
No, but they know how to handle guns, and they respect guns, and, you know,
I feel like foreign object to them.
Right. It's not a foreign object is all that I'm saying. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, you know, I didn't experience that growing up in New Jersey.
Well, it's odd because the Jonases moved around so much when they were younger. So they did live in Texas for a while. They lived in New Jersey, and you know, this is kind of like a second home for them. So.
Yeah, it's so nice, I think, especially like they talk about this a ton of times in this episode. It's so nice to have a place where everyone can consider home, you know? That's where everyone can go to get together, and especially when you're traveling, if you're on tour, obviously that's a different lifestyle. But even, I mean, my family, we're different countries or different states throughout the country, you know? And to always have that place to go home, or to always go to my grandma's for Christmas or Thanksgiving, you know? It just brings everyone together, and all those memories are there. They're a part of that house.
That home base.
Yeah.
That house is the Jonas family capital.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. And I mean, they even said it in the episode. Kevin said to his parents, like, you know, people always say it's my parents' house, but it's really all of our houses. Like, it is the family house, which is really cool to see that happen. I don't know.
Yeah, everyone just feels at home going back. Doesn't matter who it is. And we even got introduced to Bob tonight.
Yes. The spiritual advisor, Bob. Well, when they had people coming over, you know, he had his friends come over, some of the family, and Bob, the spiritual advisor, who has been a big part of the Jonas family's life, he came in and he said that he wanted to share something with Kevin and Danielle. He's been keeping them in his prayers for a while.
Yeah.
Very sweet of him.
Let's point out that Denise initiated this conversation, though. Kevin's mom, she brought this up in conversation.
And it seemed like, I mean, this has happened in the past 2 episodes. There's a lot of talk about babies. And Bob brings this up again, that it's never a mistake when a child is brought into this world. And it's clear, it's very evident the second he starts talking about this that Danielle is uncomfortable. She starts crying, and Kevin says that this should have been discussed just them two, not in front of the whole family, because really, while they want the family's input, it's their decision.
Yeah. And he even catches himself a little bit later after the conversation when he tells Dani, he's like, I'm not going to pressure you on this anymore. This is not just my decision. This affects you just as much as it affects me. And it's not for me to say, no, we're ready to have kids. You know, if you're not ready, then I'm not ready with you either, you know? So to bring everyone into the conversation, grandparents, brothers, cousins, everyone that they've been talking with it about, I mean, it's really not their decision. As much as, like, you want great grandbabies, you want more grandchildren, they're not giving birth to a child, nor are they going to be watching and growing with it and teaching it and parenting it. So Dani, she's got to call the shots on this one. I love that she's staying strong.
I mean, did Bob bring it up, or did Denise bring it up? I think Denise
brought it up.
Right, because otherwise Bob probably would have told Kevin on the side, like, hey, this is, you know, my message from God. But, you know, Denise brought it up, so let's just have another family meeting about this. I mean, it's kind of a shame because it's so much pressure. It's so much pressure for such, you know, a young couple. I don't see what the rush is. I really don't. I think Denise needs to just chill out.
Yeah, well, we saw it if we remember back to episode 1, where when the in-laws came over for dinner, when the Jonases came over, they had a very similar conversation, and it seemed like, you know, they were pressuring Danielle into starting a family right away. And she said so many times, I am so, you know, like, I really want a family. Like, that is my #1 thing. That is what I want in life, is to start a family with Kevin, but I'm not ready yet. Right. She says she wants to wait. And I mean, whether that's a couple months or a couple years, I mean, that it is ultimately her decision. And I feel like the whole touring thing is what makes her more apprehensive about it, because no one really wants to raise a kid by themselves.
Exactly.
No,
it's tough.
they don't.
And we also learned about Dani having, like, anxiety problems that she mentioned tonight. She said that she's been on medication, you know, to deal with it. That she's been trying to get herself off of it, because if they were considering having a baby, she just doesn't want any of that in her system. So there's a lot, we're learning more and more every week. There's a lot going on in her head, you know? She's trying to take in everything in consideration, which is amazing. She's being so smart about this, and she's being so rational that she doesn't want to, it's not just hey, let's have steak for dinner. Like, it's not a simple decision for her. And the fact that she's staying strong after everyone hounding her, that's family, I mean, she's doing a great job, I think. She has every reason that she needs to feel the way that she does, you know? And she's staying strong regardless of her family or Kevin's family, you know, kind of ganging up on her.
I don't want to say that I feel sorry for this girl because obviously she has a good life, but if my mother-in-law made comments about me and my paper napkins at dinner, I would be afraid to bring a baby into the world. I mean, what would you say about my diaper changing style or my bottles or whatever? I mean, it's kind of a little... That's a lot of pressure.
I mean, I think especially like your family unit, they're there for you. They're the ones out of everyone, especially living in the public eye like the Jonases do. Everyone else is going to critique you, and you're going to get ridicule from everywhere. So your family needs to be your support system. They need to be the ones there for you. And if it's your support system and your family still criticizing you on decisions of your life, you know, like a paper napkin, really? You're going to point that out at dinner as opposed to, well, I mean, I would use cloth, but maybe she wants to use paper towels, you know? You can't judge her on things like that, you know, because Kevin even tells his mom, he's like, you're making her uncomfortable. She hears that and she tightens up. Her walls go up. That's it.
Yeah, and we talk about that later in the episode, but it seems like throughout this entire episode, there's this tension building between them. And, you know, it's kind of been apparent all season that Jonas has some sort of jealousy about Danielle. But starts off, they separate. The girls all go to tea, and the guys all go skeet shooting. And this conversation continues.
I mean, she can't get away from it. No matter what she does, she cannot get away from it. I think that the tea time conversation was definitely handled in a very nice, respectful way, as opposed to how some of the conversations that we've seen Dani had with like family members have gone in the past. But again, still brought it up, you know? I think that they were more on like Dani's side when they were talking about it this time. But at the end of the day, she's still like, it's a no-go, you know?
I know, poor Dani. Are there other things you could talk about? Like, you know, I don't know, your political views or just anything, you know, my next haircut or color, but it's always got to be baby talk.
I mean, I feel like at tea, it was more of a discussion and less of a command. So she was involved in that, and this is the first time where I think, you know, I see her being happy to discuss this whole baby talk.
Yeah, because it's not judgmental comments. It's not them giving their opinion and telling her that this is how she should be doing things. It's let's just talk about it, you know? What do you have to say? This is what I have to say.
Well, hallelujah to that. I mean, Grandma Jonas is gorgeous.
Oh.
Is she not gorgeous?
Their whole family.
Great genes.
Yeah. But she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah. So I have to say, if you're not watching us on AfterBuzzTV.com, you might be watching us on YouTube. If not, then you'd better be listening to us on iTunes. Go to iTunes, find AfterBuzz TV, and subscribe to Married to Jonas. Because it really helps us bring you this great free content, and we know you love free stuff. So AfterBuzz TV also has a bunch of other shows. We have over 30 shows that you can download and listen to. So make sure you subscribe and tell a friend.
Yep.
Thanks.
Share the word.
So after the guys and the girls all went and did their separate thing, they went to the rodeo, which was really cool to see. I mean, if you haven't been to Texas, then I doubt you've been to a rodeo.
No, I mean, it just looks like another world. Like, what? You want to ride around on a bull?
It is. And after you go to the rodeo, you should definitely try two-stepping.
Let me write this down. Bucket list. Gotta make these notes.
Well, it seems like Dani, I mean, she said it the best, like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to jump on a horse and then have it try to buck you off or a bull or whatever it is?
I'm with her. I'm missing it.
Put your body in harm's way of this gigantic animal that weighs like a ton.
I mean, but it is a sport down south, and a lot of people do it. It's
very respected.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only would I say that it's a sport, but it's almost like their own nationality.
It's a lifestyle down there. I mean,
definitely.
Like, not everyone goes to the rodeo every single weekend, but it's definitely a family outing, and it was nice that, you know, Kevin got to spend time with his friends and the rest of his family, but he got a little slack when he went home from his mom.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is the most, I mean, especially this season, obviously being this early into it, he said his mind. Like, he said his piece. He needed to do it. He really needed to say something for Dani's sake. And Denise, bless her heart, she was not backing down. She was like, I respect what you have to say, and I get where you're coming from, but this is how I feel. This is why I did what I did. This is why I said what I said. And, I mean, she did say that she was sorry, though, which I respected. The fact that she did apologize for putting Dani and Kevin in the situation with having Bob say something about what he felt they should be doing, you know, or saw. So I think that was nice that at least she knew that she stepped over some kind of boundary that she shouldn't have gone, you know?
Yeah, I feel like during this whole conversation, though, she was upset with him on multiple levels. Like, at the beginning of it, she mentioned that she didn't want him to go to the rodeo because he should spend time with his grandfather who has cancer. And then he kind of, you know, bounced back and he's like, well, you know, like, I can't juggle all of these things. Like, you know, I have my friends, I have my family, I am in New Jersey, I'm in Texas, like, I'm on tour. And I mean, for a 24-year-old, he has a lot going on in his life that he has to deal with. And I mean, a baby would just be so hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think Kevin said it best himself. He said, Mom, you always go somewhere that it doesn't need to go, you know, because 2 different examples, how she brought up the paper napkins, you know, she didn't need to say that, you know, she doesn't need to make all the comments that she does. And it really does, Dani picks up on all of that. All she said in like her confessionals, all I want to do is impress her, you know, I'm trying to learn from her and I'm trying to impress her. And I can't get that across if I'm not comfortable, you know? So I think that Kevin, he's trying so hard and he's trying to get his point across. And then if Denise is taking it somewhere, like Kevin said, that it doesn't need to go, you're missing the entire concept of what the problem really is. And you're not solving anything because everything else is just getting dragged into it.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's 8 different issues.
Right. It's kind of hard. I mean, you know, Denise did say, I don't know how to be a mother-in-law. And that's really sweet and well. And yes, you tried to prepare for this day. And just because you say you're sorry doesn't necessarily mean that your actions are saying that. I mean, you know, she has to back down and accept the fact that her son is married to another woman and she's now the head of her household with her son.
But how tough do you think that would be to, you know, have 4 boys and be the only woman in that family? Like, she's never had to compete for her son's attention, for her husband's attention, for, I mean, she's always been like the queen of the household. And then to have another girl come in and one of your boys is now, you know, taken away.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a learning experience for all of them because it's foreign to her, you know? She even says, she's like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a mother-in-law. I've never been a mother-in-law before. So I think, I mean, as we see the season go on, I think that we'll definitely see growth from all of them because they're learning, you know? They're trying to feel it out. They haven't been married that long. They've only been married for 2 years. And especially with their schedules, I'm sure that doesn't leave much time for them to really spend enough time to like learn each other and feel each other out, you know? I mean, Denise even points out that they have yet to spend a holiday together as a family because he needs to split his time with the DeLisas, you know? And like she said, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that I'm not the only person, you know? Time has to be divided up now.
But as the strong, amazing woman that she is, why can't she reach out to the DeLisas and, you know, create some kind of family bond there and, you know, extend this welcoming. I mean, the house is big enough. Why can't they all spend holidays together?
Join forces.
Yeah, this is silly.
That would be a lot of people. I remember in episode 1, they had talked about how, you know, they wanted to get together, like, all of them for dinner. And it would have been the DeLisas and the Jonases. And can you imagine, I mean, their families are both fairly big.
Yeah.
So having almost 20 people in the room together, or 20 people sharing a house for the holidays, that could get a little hectic.
Sure, but they're by avoiding it, I feel like they're kind of causing these like little underlying problems. And it's silly, you know, mother-in-laws and father-in-laws, if they put a lot of stress on a new marriage, I mean, in some ways, it could turn around and, you know, do more damage because, you know, at the end of the day, Dani really loves him. She's such a good wife. Like, what do you want by putting this pressure on her?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can see the respect that they have for each other. You know, they love each other to death. So regardless
They really do.
I mean, even when we see the drama brought up in every episode, they're always resolving their issues by the end of the day, you know? And it's, I love you, I respect you, I'm your support system, I'm here for you. So I think for that to be reiterated enough, I mean, it's not only said, but it's felt too. Like their actions prove it.
Absolutely.
I'm always taken aback by how mature Kevin is.
Yeah.
He handles every situation so well. And while we do see him get in arguments from time to time, he is always saying things like, you know, I don't want you to be jealous, or, you know, like, this is how we should handle it. Like, he is always the one who's kind of a moderator in every situation.
Yeah, he's definitely a man. He is a grown-up man, and he is not messing around with your, like, immature drama, you know? Everything that he has to say, like, you can just feel the respect from him, you know? And everything that even the conflict that he has, he does it in the right way, you know? He doesn't come at people, let's talk about it, let's work through it. And I think that's the way that it should be handled, which is why he's been able to clear everything up this far.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a peacekeeper, for sure.
Yeah.
He's very level-headed. And
Let's keep everyone happy.
You can't say that about a lot of 24-year-old boys. So,
No.
exactly, boys. 24-year-old boys. He's a 24-year-old man.
Exactly.
Kevin Jonas for president.
Make the t-shirts now. Yeah. I mean, like, even now what we're watching is, like, them kind of... Do you think that it was weird for him to bring up that his mother was judging her?
Yes. I mean, it has to.
Should he have?
No, I don't think so, personally, because... I mean, it's just another thing. She's already kind of walking on eggshells, you know, when she's around Denise. So especially the napkin comment, she was like, am I not supposed to do that? Am I not supposed to use paper napkins, you know? So she can't live her life the way that she normally does on a day-to-day basis with taking into consideration how everyone else is expecting her to live, you know? So a comment especially that was so unnecessary like that, I get it. I get why he did, because Dani is it for him. You know, she's his other person. So if he wants to talk about something, vent, or just share a secret, she's his go-to person. So I get why it came out. However, I think that that's something that he should have just kept to himself, because she's going to be overanalyzing the situation, you know, and thinking like, wow, his mom even noticed the kind of napkins that I used, you know?
I completely agree with you. He should have had that conversation with his brothers, you know, just kind of a venting conversation. But yeah, I know honesty is what you should do in a marriage, but that little comment just didn't need to go any further.
It doesn't do any good. That's how I feel.
Well,
it's just...
I feel like that comment was taken out of context, or like it didn't come across as the Jonas mother wanted it to. So, you know, Denise, like, she said, even when she was in her interview, that she wanted it to lighten the mood, not to, you know, feel like she was nitpicking at everything that Danielle does. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like she does judge in other ways, but I don't think that she meant the comment that way. I think she meant, like, you know, I don't judge that she's using paper napkins. Like, even though she said it, like, well, I don't judge that. I mean, like...
Just the way it was said.
It was said in a weird way.
I think she's a little bit passive aggressive, and she likes to use the I'm joking as an escape to get herself out of trouble, when clearly it was a little left jab and she meant it to be exactly what she said.
Yeah. Well, I use paper napkins and Solo cups, so I would never be allowed in the Jonas family.
You don't get to have dinner. You have to go to her house for dinner.
That could be your way in, because all you'll have to say is, listen, we don't have to have dinner at my house or even with my family. I'll just do everything with you, Denise. I promise I'll bring your son home.
Exactly.
How do you feel about takeout? Let's just go somewhere.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But yeah, at the end of the episode, we did end up seeing Kevin and Danielle, like, fix everything, and I feel like their relationship has grown so much. You know, even after they've gotten married, I feel like they're still growing stronger every single day.
Yeah.
And I just remember there was one quote where he said, I want to protect you. And, you know, whether that was from his mother, from, like, crazy fans, from whatever it is, he's always going to be by her side and protect her. Aww.
What a good husband.
Yeah.
He's such a keeper.
Yeah. So, moving on to news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
We don't have that much news for this week, But the Jonas Brothers, while they aren't up for a VMA at the MTV VMA Awards, they are up for most memorable moment or most epic moment, and that is for their 2008 performance of Love Bug, which I know a lot of fans remember and loved that performance.
I loved Love Bug.
That is one of my favorite Jonas songs.
I still actually remember that performance because that was intense. Like the girls just running. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
On the back lot, like just running after them.
That's how epic it was.
I mean,
it was epic.
It was epic.
Epic. They need to win. So you have to vote for them.
Yeah. Well, if you think that it's an epic video or epic moment, then you should go to mtv.com and vote for them, because voting is open until Wednesday, September 5th. And of course, the VMAs will be aired
on the 6th.
Yeah, on the 6th. So get your voting on.
Yeah.
And I think that rounds up our news for the week.
That's all we got.
Unless you guys have anything. No?
I think you covered it.
Okay.
I think the thing is that the Jonas family is just truly a good family. So they're not going to be in the news for doing anything bad like a lot of other families on TV.
Yeah. And, well, we actually have some more news that I want to mention. We have an interview with Dina DeLisa coming up, and we are actually going to be interviewing her on Wednesday, September 5th as well. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to tweet us at AfterBuzz TV or at any of our Twitter handles, which we'll mention at the end of the show. But
yeah, let us know what you guys want to know.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to interview her for you.
Absolutely.
All of your questions for Dina will be answered right here on AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
It is an exclusive.
It is.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, predictions for next week, other than that Dina's going to be on our show.
I mean, well, we saw... I love that. I want to listen to the whole thing before I even talk, because I really enjoy like the
spooky music.
Yeah. I mean, we saw in the preview Dina's B-Day, so we can talk about that. Yes. I mean, I think that we should definitely cover that with her, you know, see how everything went. But I think something like back to we always get a little bit of like happy, and then we get a little bit of drama, and they do talk about how Dani's dad had a heart attack in the past, and I think that that is going to pull on a lot of heartstrings, because I mean, I'm sure everyone in some way, shape, or form has been affected by someone that they care for having a heart condition or heart troubles or a heart attack,
just
or
getting sick in general.
Anything. I mean, they talked about Kevin's grandfather today getting diagnosed with liver cancer, you know, so I think that that's going to give some insight to how they're handling a whole nother aspect of life in the real world.
Yeah, it's really sad. I just hope that Bucky is, you know, doing what he needs to do to take care of himself, but we'll see more of that next week. And I'm really looking forward to next week. I don't know. It just reminds me of my own family back home in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Bucky, lay off the bakery.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, he always talks about food, so I'm sure that's what sparks this whole controversy.
Italians, we just are born and bred with food and flavors and sauces, and we just can't help it.
Yeah. Well, I know that this episode was very deep, and like there was a lot of stuff that happened, so hopefully it'll be a little bit more lighthearted next week. I know that they do have this discussion with Bucky, but should be another good episode. So make sure to tune in for another after show here on AfterBuzz TV next Sunday. And then if people want to get in contact with you in the meantime, how can they do that?
Yes, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Samantha_Laich, Laich.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter as well at Miss Manizer.
You can follow me on Twitter at Cathy Kelley, and you can follow all of us on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. Make sure to tweet us your questions for Dina so that we can get those answered for you right here on the show. And again, make sure to tune in next Sunday.
Yay. See you next week.
See you
From
next week.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.